Hey, hey, fancy seeing you here. I hate doing the hello bit because it's always awkward. Where is the thing that I was going to talk about? Here we go. Hello. Welcome to the Play Philosophy, where I share creative ways for you to know yourself, grow yourself, and be yourself confidently using play. I'm Rachel, very welcome. This is my unofficial jingle. Hello. If you are anything like me, you are currently existing in the abyss between Christmas and New Year when you're thinking about all of the amazing stuff that you want to do next year, reflecting on your goals, what are they going to be, what habits do you want to do, etc., etc. Now, I have learned in my time on this earth so far that you can't really set your goals and your intentions for the coming year if you haven't properly put to bed the year that you have just had. So I've been thinking the last few days about my own plans for next year, and I've been in a bit of a head twaddle about it. And today I thought, hold the phone, Rach. You've not given yourself any space to just think about the year that you've just had. Past versions of ourselves are much wiser than current versions of ourselves because I picked up my journal from this year to have a look. And well, let me show you this. Tuesday, the 4th of January, 2022, 3:22 p.m. It's only 22. Found myself paralysed, unable to start with thinking about the year ahead until I've documented all of my thoughts about last year here. I feel like I need to process the moving on from 2021, let it go so I can invite the new year and begin. Wise words from myself to myself. I have two ways that I normally reflect. One of them is journaling, pure stream of consciousness, whatever thoughts come out of me, kind of just gets you in a really good headspace to let out anything that's still on your mind about the year before, work through some of the feelings that you might still have about it, or problem solve some things. You can see my microphone, Mr. Blue. Calm yourself, it's not all about you, you know. Back off. I decided today to use my doodling, I prefer to call it, method of reflection because it's particularly good when you're looking at a kind of general space or span of time, which is perfect for a year. So there's nothing wrong with journaling and reflecting on your year using questions like, what did I learn from 2022? What were my biggest wins? What were my failures? But it's just not as fun and also not as, I don't think, opens up as much scope to understand your year in a slightly different way. Because storytelling and metaphor is such a great way to understand ourselves and kind of articulate things that we might not be able to articulate in words until we have seen them visually. And therefore, here is my 2022 in a doodle format. This is what I've been working on today. I am going to take you through my process of how I did that, share it with you, just give you an honest account of how my 2022 has been and hopefully give you some inspiration in how you can apply doodling to reflecting on how your 2022 has been, or also use it as a tool as you go into 2023 to just reflect on how things are going. I don't know where I put this now. It's going to have to go on the floor. So before I get into any kind of doodly creative zone, I spend a little bit of time just getting reflective. So get cozy, read through my old journal articles from this year. Not articles, what are they? Entries, journal entries. And if you don't journal, maybe you've got notebooks where you've written your goals, just to kind of see where's your head at been during the year, what's gone on, and kind of notice what thoughts and feelings come up as you're reading and any themes that you notice that you might want to bring into what it is that you're going to draw out. After that, I set up my space ready to do the doodling. So what I normally do is start off with just a bit of a pencil timeline of the year where I'll write out all of the months. And it just is to kind of get my head around reminding myself what has actually gone on, and to just think about how I might want to represent that visually. I actually struggled with this time more than usual. I don't know if it was the pressure of knowing that I was recording it, but I started to overthink it. But actually, I think that's probably a really good message for you if you've never done this before, is don't overthink it, right? Like this isn't, if you take anything away from this video today, like this isn't about being some kind of amazing art piece or aesthetically pleasing thing that's going to be, really Instagrammable. It's purely just a doodly process for you to understand and reflect on the year. So you'll see that as I'm doing this here, I'm doing a little bit of writing, but a lot of kind of hand gesturing, because I kept getting this image in my head as I was thinking about the year of something to do with like branching off, or like paths moving in different directions, or like a kind of uphill climb going up a mountain. I then had the genius idea that it was probably quite helpful to look at the visual that I had done previously this year. So I Doodle journaled my self-employment journey from 2020 to 2022 as a water slide. So when I looked at that, I thought, right, like I've drawn this, like I've been spouted out into this water slide sort of unexpectedly. And this year feels very different. It feels like I'm not kind of at the whim of a forces beyond my control. Like I've made some decisions that have set me on a path, and now I'm kind of making decisions about like where I'm going to go on that path. So that's where I came up with this visual of the kind of forest and the trees, and here I am with myself, drawing myself, I should say, with a little backpack on. And the just sense that I was feeling as I was drawing this was like, oh, like exhale, like I can breathe, like I've walked into the woods and I'm looking at everything around me. And it's just, I was setting off feeling a bit more relaxed and kind of together after what had been quite a challenging couple of years. So as you can see here, I'm not necessarily doing it in like a linear fashion. I had a sense of, oh, now actually I know how I'm feeling. I feel like I'm looking at the year ahead, kind of standing on this cliff and looking at all of these possibilities. And that's why I started drawing the end part there. Um, yeah, and this is what I say, like just play with it, just go with it, see what comes out of you. This isn't pre-planned. That's all part of, I think, why it works really well for reflection is you kind of draw something that makes you think of something else, that makes you think of something else, and before you know it, you've got a whole like story and world around how your year has been. I'll explain what these other little bits are when I show you the finished product in a minute. But yeah, I just got into a good little flow with it, and you'll see occasionally I'll kind of pause and just think for a minute. The cogs are turning in my brain. It's helping me like reflect on the year, but also think forward to 2023, which is a really nice kind of it's where I wanted to get to right before I planned for the year ahead. Here is the finished product. I'm sorry about the zoom. I haven't figured out how to fix that. I'll work it out before I do this again. So it's a little bit blurry in places. But I started off thinking about the forest of paths to be forged. So I got myself on dry land in about March, April time when I made the decision to leave self-employment and go back into employment. And there I am starting off with my little backpack. You'll notice that in my backpack the whole time I've got this little pink and yellow that represents the fact that where I get to at the end, I was like carrying within me all along. Oh, is it a bit on the nose? Probably. Do I love it? Absolutely. And the forest really just represents me going on this new adventure and, exploring and finding out some new things about myself and kind of just sort of being very open to the possibilities of where I might want to go next. Generally, not even just career, but just kind of life, just very open. And then we hit this very sticky situation, which was around September time when I decided that I wanted to go for an ADHD assessment. And I've put a little path here, if you see that's kind of got a dead end, to represent the fact that I could have made a decision at that point to not pursue a diagnosis and kind of just not really deal with it. But to be honest, that's never an option that I would have chosen. It's never a path I would have gone down because, when I want an answer to something, I want an answer to it. So, yeah, I didn't go down that path. I went into the woods, the unknown woods. And actually, I think that was my favourite part of drawing this, was this kind of unknown territory, my little head poking up, kind of feeling really in the darkness and lost and confused and weird about the whole thing for a long time. But equally, was a very, I say for a long time, it was a very short, it all happened extremely quickly, but just really representing kind of being in that unknown territory and there being lots of good things, but also lots of hard things about that and kind of coming out of the other side of that then. And then we move to this end part, which really represents where I am right now, a couple of months, 2-3 months after this ADHD diagnosis, and just feeling this real sense of like, there is a world of magical possibilities before me. Like, that's genuinely how I feel right now. The little plane with like the ADHD island, and just looking ahead, bright sunshine, feeling this sense of just being able to breathe, and looking at the ocean. I don't know what it is about the ocean and the boats, but I just have this thing about that visual. You'll see it in behind me in a lot of my videos. I have like the what's it called, lighthouse that I made, that just represents this like essence of fun amongst the choppy waters of life. And yeah, there I am. There's all my other fun people. splooshing around in the water in their colourful boats and just feeling out of the woods and looking forward to the possibilities of what the future holds. Something that I didn't mention in the video, but I did this afterwards as I was looking at the whole drawing and kind of think about it as a whole, was just to write down some key learnings that I had about the year. And I always think about them as like, what did I put in my little backpack that I'm wearing in the drawing as I was going along the path and through the forest and out the other side? And there are 4 key learnings that I've written down. And I think this is where this particular way of reflecting can add a lot of value, because the lessons are a lot more meaningful when you kind of see them play out in front of you in this drawing format. So the 4 things that I have learned this year that I'm going to remind myself of as I go into the new year are these. I'm good at making life decisions, particularly courageous ones. I forget that constantly. And when I need to make a change, when I need to do something different, I will do it. Navigating through the woods, especially on a path that you've chosen for yourself, is dark and scary, as well as magical and wonderful. That is life that comes with the territory. You will come out of the other side. Everything is temporary. Something that really struck me as I wrote this is that the day-to-day struggles and annoyances that I have, they just don't even feature, like they don't come up as part of this pathway. And I think that was really interesting because it just reminds me that when I am all caught up in my feelings about something or pissed off or frustrated, like by the end of the year, I probably won't even notice. And finally, I think a really big lesson for me, and one that I 100% will be taking into the new year, and I don't think I quite appreciated that until I had drawn all of this out, but it's that I want to keep forging my own path. I don't want to be in that little dinghy, riding the rapids, going down the river, being thrown from one side to the other without really having any autonomy to steer where I am going. I'm forging my own path. I'm feeling relentless, determined about it, and I'm going to do it my way. And that is in a fluorescent sailboat teetering along a lovely river with the sun in the sky. It's going to look how I want it to look, and I'm going to do it how I want to do it. And that is the key message for me as I go into 2023, but I'll explore that a bit more with you in my next video about planning for the year ahead. That's it from me today. I would love to hear about how your reflections on 2022 go. If you've tried doodling, what visual you came up with, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much to those of you who are already subscribed if you're not already. Click that button, click the bell for channel notifications. I upload new videos every Friday, and I hope to see so much more of you in the new year. See you soon.